Episode 1, The Drop. I am your host, Livestock. And first things first, out the gate, I must let you guys know that this is a re-upload. I shot this episode once before, a couple months ago, and it wasn't until I uploaded it that I realized that the audio was terrible. I watched it and immediately went to somebody else's podcast, or not even immediate, but you know how YouTube has the autoplay. Another person's podcast started playing right after mine, and I noticed how loud and clear and present their audio was, so I had to go back and do some research and figure out what the problem was. I didn't hear it editing. That's the crazy part. You don't really notice it when you own your laptop. It isn't until it actually goes up and you hear the side-by-side comparison of yours and somebody else's. So like I said, I had to get rid of that. I'm shooting it again just so I can get the audio right this time. So if you've seen episode 1 already, turn this off. You don't need to watch it. I'm literally just going to go over everything that I went over last time. So just save yourself an hour. I'm going to have episode 2 uploaded, or I'm going to shoot it after this. So I'll let you guys know when that goes up. But like I said, if you saw episode 1 last time already, just turn this off and stay tuned for episode 2. Okay. But I'm going to start this podcast off with a quote from Edmund Burke. I thought I see, and that's the thing. That's Edmund Burke. Yeah. Come on, get out of here. Yeah. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. That is part of the reason why I started this podcast, is because the triumph of evil is on the horizon, and a good man like myself has been doing nothing for far too long. And I must get off of my behind, as they say. As another thing that was wrong with my other podcast episode, I wasn't adhering to YouTube's language algorithms. I was using a lot of foul language that I'm now learning that is frowned upon. So I'm gonna try to watch my language. So I'm getting off my backside, as that would suffice, and I'm doing something just to try to make the world a better place so evil don't win. Okay. And what made me abundantly aware that the triumph of evil was on the horizon is this here. Yeah, I don't need to watch the whole thing. I just need to show y'all these pictures, these of protests going on in my city, Toledo, Ohio. See, now when you start seeing things like this right outside your back door, is time to do something. Like, I can't really tell y'all the last time that Toledo has protested or anything has happened that we felt strongly enough to protest for. Like, this isn't really the type of city that happens in. Like, you got them hot spots like other cities. I don't even want to name any in specifically, but y'all know the ones that I'm talking about, where protest is regular. People outside all the time. This ain't one of them cities. So if it's happening here, it's gotten real. People are actually mad. Stop stealing my future. Here's a coup. That's crazy. That's great. Oh my God. I'm rejecting kings since 1776. You know what I mean? And most of them were holding up no kings. That's what this was about. So like I said, when things like that start happening, it just motivates me even more to do what I need to do, right? So another few things about this podcast that you all should know is that it's only going to cover relevant topics. Like I said, stuff like that's actually happening in real life that affects you, everyday people. I'm not going to be covering stuff that's just not of importance to you or of imminence. So it's like, if it don't affect you, I ain't talking about it, basically. And unless someone requests, like I said, if any one of my supporters requests me cover something just because they want my opinion on it, of course I'll do that for you. But our standard issue subject matters are always going to be of importance and relevance. All right. And of course, and blatantly obvious, like I said, anything that is just in your face, can't ignore, like something like this whole, and I'll get into it, not in this episode, but in episode 2, these Epstein files, how it may not directly affect you now, but it's so obvious that it needs discussion. And yeah, it could potentially affect you at some point in time. If it turns out that this is what it seems to be, and there's this secret, pedophile ring or whatever, that could affect you, because one of y'all could be the next person getting snatched up and sent to an island. That definitely does need some discussion, but that's going to be kind of the criteria for what gets discussed on this show. And of course, the most blatantly obvious thing that's happened, like my man Larry Elder said, fresh out some white, the 10,000-pound elephant in the room is Donald Trump. He's the most obvious thing that could affect all of our lives. You understand me? Now, the very first thing that I want to discuss is his views on critical race theory. And the reason why I want this to be the first subject matter is because it's something that affects me directly. Obviously, look at my skin, right? He's actually doing things to remove Black history. He now all of a sudden wants to act like the history of America and their treatment of Black people didn't happen, right? He, for whatever reason, now he has a problem with that, so he wants it to go away. Interesting. But let me just show you some and that's also another point I want to make about this platform. I'll always have visuals. I don't like it when platforms and people make statements about things that they have no proof, no evidence, they don't have the source. It's just, trust me, bro. Like, no, if I show you something, I'm gonna pull it up and back it up. You feel me? So this was him on the campaign trail.
On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and any other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the shoulders of our children.
Now, I'm going to let that beginning part play one more time, because that's the part I want to talk about.
And I will not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. And I will keep men immediately, day one, out of women's sports.
Immediately, day one.
And I will fully uphold our very important but under siege Second Amendment, as I did for 4 years. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory.
Now, like you said, the transgender insanity, you can have that. That ain't even what I'm mad at. Whatever issues that have been happening in the LGBT community with the T's, and you wanting to put a stop to that, go right ahead. That first one, though, we definitely need to discuss that. So you're cutting funding for anyone pushing critical race theory, right? Okay, cool. And now here's the video of him actually signing. Here's the video of him actually signing that bill to do just that. This is the still shot of him. I guess I can mute it because you don't need to hear what this. I just wanted him actually signing it. You see, right? To do exactly what he just said he was going to do. Anybody teaching critical race theory ain't getting no money. All right, cool. Now let's just learn what critical race theory is to figure out why he has such a problem with it, right? What could possibly be the issue with this, huh? All right. So critical race theory is an academic framework developed in the 1970s and 1980s by legal scholars, including Derek Bell and Kimberly Crenshaw, according to the Columbia Law School. It emerged as a critique of critical legal studies and the slow progress of the civil rights movement, challenging the notion that the law and legal institutions are colorblind or neutral. Critical race theory posits that racism is not merely individual prejudice, but is deeply embedded in legal systems, policies, and institutions, shaping societal, economical, and political inequalities, right? Okay, cool. So basically how racism isn't just individual prejudices, how I don't like you because you're white, you don't like me because I'm black. No, but it's in the system, it's in the schools, it's how it's certain people will deny you housing because of what you look like, or because they just see that black is on the application, bank loans, etc. It's the system, it's the whole way things operate, how the way you're treated in this country is directly affected by what you look like. That's what critical race theory is, not anything other than identifying and articulating the reality of America. Nothing more, nothing less, right? So what could be the problem with that? Why could our president feel like that's a problem and that it needs to be weaponized and you can't teach it or you're not gonna get no money? Like, what's his beef? What could possibly be the reason or explanation for that? In another video, he called it divisive. What's divisive about it? It's the actual history. It's not an ideology. It's not saying what it should be, like we should treat other people differently because of their race, or that we should have racial guidelines embedded in our society and economics. No, it's the reality of what happened. So why? And now we're going to go into the theoretical realm, because don't get me wrong, we're going to base everything on facts first, and then we'll speculate or spitball about what we think the reason or causality would be, right? So now that we done just laid out the facts, the fact is he don't like it. He's getting rid of it. Anybody who supports it ain't getting no money. And the fact is, this is what this thing is that he's getting rid of. So we've established all the facts of the matter. Now we can get into the speculation, and the speculation is the white guilt and the white fragility. He's feeling extremely guilty about what his ancestors have done to the likes of my ancestors and my fellow African Americans' ancestors. And he doesn't want the next generation of white people to realize that they're evil. And not them specifically, because the next generation of white folks ain't did nothing. Some of them are still doing things, but specifically, in theory, the next generation of white folks ain't did nothing. They ain't enslaved nobody. They ain't hung nobody on no tree. So they're not the evil ones, but their ancestors definitely are. And so Trump doesn't want his grandkids to know that their grandpappies are horrible individuals. He doesn't want his grandkids to start asking him questions. Well, why did Pappy hate the N-words? Why did Pappy hate the black folks? You know what I mean? He doesn't want to do none of that. So he just rather act like it didn't happen. You'd rather just get rid of it and say, the Pilgrims came here and made friends. We didn't come here and enslave nobody. We didn't come here and steal nothing from nobody. We all just worked together and kumbaya this country from the ground up. I guess that's what he, it's terrible. It's terrible. He's getting rid of black history right in front of our faces. Again, I have to do something about this. I have to speak on this. I have to get active in some way, shape, or form, because it's insanity. It's ridiculous. You feel me? All right. And what else do I have? Second subject matter. His second in command. And don't worry. He done been doing a lot more that we're going to delve into in later episodes. This first episode is just giving y'all a rundown of the hierarchy of the administration. That's the word I was looking for. Him and his goon squad. You feel me? That's all we're going to talk about this episode 1. I'm going to just give y'all bullet points of him and his regime. You feel me? And we're going to keep going. We're going to continue with his second in command, Mr. J.D. Vance, and this meeting that went viral with Zelensky, right? There was so much that was wrong with that ish. But I must just talk about one part in particular where he claims that he ain't never been to Ukraine, but he's heard stories, and the stories that he heard tell him everything he need to know about what they need to do. Like, again, imagine somebody telling you, I ain't never been inside your house, but I've heard the stories and you need to do X, Y, and Z if you want to run your house right. Like, who are you, bruh? Who are you to be telling me anything of the sort? Like, make it make sense. You feel me? Like, it. Anyway, peep this. This is what he said.
Country.
Yes, but if you are not strong...
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to
Count once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your
Okay. So, and then he just tries to go on, but most of you have already seen that, but I just needed to play that one part. You've seen and heard the stories, JD. Only problem with that, I would trust your judgment had you not gotten a story wrong before. Had you not completely made up a story before, nigga. Like last time you heard stories led you to say that the Haitians was eating cats and dogs, JD. After multiple people done tried to corroborate that. Multiple people done tried to verify what you said. Nobody can. And yet now you're still relying on the stories that you hear. Help me understand, bro. Like what? Hold on. Let me just show y'all the files.
Well, first of all, city officials have not said it's not true. They've said they don't have all the evidence.
They don't have any evidence.
First of all, city officials have not said it's not true. They've said they don't have all the evidence.
They said they have no evidence.
We've heard from a number of constituents on the ground, Caitlin, who both firsthand and secondhand reports saying this stuff is happening.
If someone calls your office and says they saw Bigfoot, that doesn't mean they saw Bigfoot. Why? I mean, you have a sense of responsibility as a running mate, and he certainly does as the candidate to not promote false information,
Look,
right?
Caitlin, it's a totally fair point, but nobody's calling my office and saying that they saw Bigfoot. What they're calling and saying is we're seeing migrants kidnap our dogs and cats, and city officials aren't doing anything about it.
And bruh, that's the crazy part about him. There's so many crazy parts about him making this type of erroneous allegation. But he didn't even bring any of these constituents that he's talking about to confirm it for him. Like, he had multiple opportunities. He had months to put a camera, to pull out his phone, record one of these people that he's claiming is saying this, say it. Like he had ample opportunity to never once did he did. Cause bro, like it just amazes me when dudes just not just lie to you, lie on camera and egregious lies, like hard lies, like you, bruh. And again, with no evidence, and you claiming you got all this evidence but never producing it. All of these constituents on the ground, and not one of them, you haven't brought any one of them to sit next to you in front of these cameras and confirm what you done told all of us. Why? Like, bro, that's one no. So after him, that was him saying that on there. Hold on.
Ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to,
but it wasn't just a meme,
create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast.
You just said that this is a story that you created. So the eating dogs and cats thing is not accurate.
Dana, it comes from firsthand accounts from my constituents. I say that we're creating a story, meaning we're creating the American media focusing on it. I didn't create 20,000 illegal migrants coming into Springfield thanks to Kamala Harris's policies. Her policies did that, but yes, we created the actual focus that allowed the American media to talk about this story and the suffering caused by Kamala Harris's policies.
And bruh, like I said, bro, and hold on, let me play this part one more time.
20,000 illegal migrants.
They were legal. They were there legally. They were not breaking the law, bruh. Like you can try to demonize them and vilify them and turn them into criminals all you want. They weren't. They were there to save the city. There's so many things wrong with what this dude was saying, but that was one of them. The other one, like I said, bro, created a story. You created a story that had no evidence for it, and so much so that you got your guy on the biggest stage he could possibly be on. And see, and that's again why this one bothered me so much, is that these black folks, these dark-skinned individuals that are just here for a job, and like I said, trying to save the city. We're trying to help you guys. We're trying to work the factories that y'all can't keep staffed because there ain't enough people here, right? We're just trying to live the American dream. Boo. And him starting that rumor has now got the racists in the city harassing him because they think they're some type of malicious animal eaters. They're trying to protect their pets from the niggers. And Trump repeating it on this humongous platform Literally, like, this was the debate, bro. This was the presidential debate. You got over 100 million people watching this live. You saying this on this type of platform, and then he gets fact checked after he says it. Watch.
They have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is the
people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
television.
television.
But the people on television saying their dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Thanks for watching.
Bruh. So like I was saying, you saying that on that type of platform now amplifies it, and now the world's racist. Not just Springfield's racist, the world's racists are now hating these people, right? But secondly, you seen it on TV. You make a claim, the dude fact checks you and said, I called the city manager, I called the guy running the town, and he says there's no evidence. Your response is, I seen it on TV. What's happening in the world where the president of the United States is making that type of inflammatory statement and then saying, I seen it on TV? Like, bro, come on. Like, what are we honestly doing here? What are we, like, bruh. But don't just believe Brett, I think it was his name, the dude that fact checked him right there. Don't just believe him. Reuters fact checked it as well. No evidence of Haitian immigrants stealing and eating pets in Ohio. Gee, imagine that. Not only that, my guy Tyler. Now, I'm not going to play this whole video because it's 26 minutes. We ain't got time for all that. But he went inside the Ohio town invaded by cat-eating Haitians, and there was no evidence. He stuck cameras in these Haitians' faces and asked them, are y'all stealing pets down here? And he said no. Hold on. I want to, if I can find that still, or that spot where he said he goes to Walmart. There was a spot where he said, if I'm hungry, I'll get food at Walmart. I don't need to steal nobody's pet. I should have timestamped that as well. But trust me, y'all will, if you want to go back here, hold on, Haitians come here for work. Yeah, there we go. But do not eat cats, because we don't eat cats. If we need meat, again, eating cats, Haitians don't eat cats. I don't do that. If I need meat, I'll go to Walmart. How dehumanizing is it to think that just because I'm a migrant and I'm Haitian, that I'm just this savage, uncivilized individual that would take a cat off of a front porch before I drive to Walmart for some food, bruh. Like bro, and I swear, you would not throw this type of accusation on a lighter skin complexion immigrant. You would never say this about any type of European immigrant. You just wouldn't. But because these motherfuckers are of the descent that they are of, you want, bro. And again, like I said, that's just the disrespect. The disrespect is grand, bro. That is the most humiliating thing to, like I said, and for that dude to even be in that position where a YouTuber is coming down and putting a camera in my face and asking me, are you stealing these people's cats? Are you guys eating these people? Like, that's the most embarrassing, humiliating, not even so much embarrassing, just disrespectful. I guess you could say embarrassing, because it's like, again, like you're just looking at me as I'm a certain way because, and yeah, bro, but there was nobody doing anything of the sort, JD. This is what happens when you start telling stories, so forgive me if I don't trust your recollection of stories. You sitting here telling Zelensky what the F he need to do. Like, what is going on with you? Now, right after Mr. J.D. Vance is Mr. Efficient Elon. Now, he is going through with Doge and making all these cuts, deciding where the money is not needed, etc. Y'all know he's been doing that. The problem is he's moving too fast. And the things that he's doing, we cannot afford for him to be doing, right? So this is what he does when he gets up there. This is the type of things that he starts to cut.
We will make mistakes. We won't be perfect. But when we make a mistake, we'll fix it very quickly. So, for example, with USAID, one of the things we accidentally canceled very briefly was Ebola, Ebola prevention. I think we all want Ebola prevention. So we restored the Ebola prevention immediately, and there was no interruption. We will make mistakes. We won't.
Now, again, the fact that you admitted that y'all will make mistakes and you did make a mistake and you didn't just try to cover it up, lie about it, etc. I commend you for that. That's admirable, right? But this is the type of mistake that you can't make, bruh. Like I said, realistically, 1 second without Ebola prevention is too much if we're being real. So if you can't go through, measure twice and cut once, don't cut at all. That's crazy. That's insane for you to Ebola, like, bro. Yeah, and you're damn right. Yeah, I think we all want Ebola prevention. Like, what the fuck? Like, you can't be doing that, Elon. You really can't be doing that. But hold on, it gets better though. The fox and the hen house theory, right? This guy here, his business empire is built on 38 billion, not million, billion in government funding. So you can't put him in charge of the government contracts, because what's stopping him from coming in, seeing where all the money's going, and just deciding that your money ain't necessary, your money ain't necessary? I really don't think yours is necessary either. Now, with all this free money that he's now have, what's stopping him from saying, oh, now Tesla has a bunch of super necessary things that it needs? And he just diverts all of that money to himself. Like, there's what are we doing? How are we stopping that? What's to, like, make it make sense, please. Make it make sense is all I'm saying. Oh, yeah, and real quick before I move on to the next two guys, I got to tell y'all about this guy at Best Buy, right? I was there talking to Geek Squad, actually trying to figure out some things to start streaming. Things were going wrong with software. I was seeing if Geek Squad could help me out with it, right? While I was waiting in line, there was an old man with his laptop in his hand. And so we get to talking, and he's like, the only reason he's here is because his Social Security ain't hit his account on time. Now, this man tells me for the past 10 years, it's been in there on time, no delays whatsoever. And as soon as they get up into the White House, now all of a sudden there's delays. There's money where it shouldn't, money not where it should be on time. And now he has to dust off this laptop and figure out how to work this thing so he can find out what's going on with his bread. And he said he ain't had to touch this laptop since he's got it because he's not needed. Like I said, he's always been able to just open up his phone checking account and it's been there. So now that it's not there, he's got to investigate. This is another real life example. Again, something that actually is happening in real life. Regular people are getting affected by what they're doing up there. You feel me? This is not just, this ain't a game. This ain't no joke. It's real life. And another couple people who about to be doing things that are going to have real life consequences and repercussions. My guy, oh my God, Pete. We're going to start with the Secretary of Defense, right? Pete Hegseth is his name. And I'm going to pull up his Wikipedia page just to show y'all something. Just to confirm who he is. Or not confirm who he is, but confirm his qualifications. He's the Secretary of Defense right now. And he did serve in the Army National Guard. And I just do that to be fair. He has some qualifications for the position. They didn't just pull this guy out of thin air. They didn't just drag him off the street and say, come protect the United States. Come be in charge of our defense. No, he's done some things that may allow him to know what he's doing in some capacity. So he could have that. That ain't even what I'm mad at. Another reason why people try to do that is because he spent some time at Fox. And so this is what he was doing between the Army, National Guard, and Secretary of Defense. So like I said, that kind of, he's not qualified. You just pulled this news reporter out of Fox. Like, no, he done did a little bit. So like I said, he could have it. The fact that he did any time in the National Guard, you can have it. I got a large problem with this one, though, Pete. I got a very, very big problem with this. This is insane. This is outrageous. First of all, what are we doing, Pete? Second of all, for you to have this tattoo and its placement, bro. Like, what? I mean, I would say those are the same. I don't think that that's a coincidence. I don't even believe in coincidence, if we're being all the way real. Like, this is the guy. This is the guy that's in charge of my safety, of my defense and safety. How can me as a black man even begin to feel comfortable? Like, what? And it's like, bro, people like to make all types of defenses for Trump. Oh, he's not racist. Oh, he's, you feel what I'm saying? Like, you surround yourself with these, not just surround yourself, you hire these type of people. And we're really supposed to believe that. We're supposed to believe that you're not, like, come on, bro. It's insane. It's quite frankly too much. It's a little bit too much. Yeah. Don't worry though. He's not the only one that has some interesting, that has some questionable views and just peep this. RFK Jr., the guy that's the health secretary right now, the guy who sounds like there's nothing healthy about him. Let's hear his ideas on vaccines.
You were on a show on February 26, 2021, an interview with Dr. Judy Mikovits, where you said the following, and I quote, "We should not be giving black people the same vaccine schedule that's given to whites because their immune system is better than ours." Can you please explain what you meant?
There's a series of studies, I think most of them by Poland, that show that to particular antigens that blacks have a much stronger reaction. There's differences in reaction to different products by different races.
So I have 17 seconds left. Let me just ask you then. So what different vaccine schedule would you say I should have received? What different vaccine schedule should I have received?
I mean, the Poland article suggests that blacks need fewer antigens than.
This is so dangerous.
So you get the same measles vaccine.
Mr. Kennedy, with all due respect, that is so dangerous. Your voice would be a voice that parents would listen to. That is so dangerous. I will be voting against your nomination because your views are dangerous to our state and to our country.
I mean, do you think science is dangerous, Senator?
Science is not dangerous, RFK. Unproven, unverifiable, and possibly biased science is. So that's exactly what I'm going to do at a later episode. I'm going to find those studies that he's talking about, see if there was any bias, how long ago they were, how accurate, etc. But for this guy that's in charge of our health, our vaccines, our medicines, to say that I don't need as many vaccines as he does because I'm black and he's white. Like, what are we doing? Like, what? Bruh. So those are the guys that are in charge of the country right now. Those are the guys making the decisions, okay? Insane. And honestly, if you were any minority in this country, black, Mexican, Asian, I suggest you do anything. Like, because to just do nothing, it's going to let people with those ideologies run rampant and make decisions. And next thing you know, you're going to be deprived of life-saving vaccines because you're black. Like, come on, bro. But on the other side, though, like I said, in the spirit of fairness, we have to take a look at the opposition, right? These are the Democrats. They're not looking too good either. They're kind of in turmoil and quite frankly, a bit desperate. But also in the spirit of fairness, you got to also lighten up and you can't be serious all the time. You got to have fun. So I guess this was their idea of having fun. Now, those are the people that's supposed to take the country back. Those are the people that's supposed to save us from Donald Trump. People making TikToks and dancing like street fighters. Like, don't know if that's the time. Now's the time for this. Don't know if now was the time for this, Democrats. Now was the time to be plotting, planning, strategizing, and figuring out what we're going to do in 2028. Now was not the time for TikTok. I get it. We're having fun. But I don't know if now is the time for fun. Now is the time to be serious. You got guys here that's wilding up there. They're wilding. And that's all I got for episode 1, though. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Episode 2, we're just going to dive deeper into the madness. We're going to talk about him and these white farmers. We're going to talk about the immigration protests. You know, we got to talk about Epstein, and we're going to talk about Iran. On episode 2 of The Drop, stay tuned. And episode 1 of Dead Sea Scrolls is coming to you right after this. So stay tuned for that as well. And everyone who is with me now, thank you. All the newcomers, thank y'all as well. Y'all stay safe. And more importantly, stay dangerous. You know what I mean?